Welcome back to SADGIC The Gathering. I'm your host. And guess what?
Dragons have invaded Dave & Buster's.
Today's episode is all about Tarkir Dragonstorm, and we are so back, baby. As you can tell from the name, this set includes a ton of tar. No, I'm just kidding. But there are a handful of dragons. So let's chat about it, okay? Wizards went from this to this in one set, which has got to be some sort of like land speed record or something. But really, this set is a return to greatness and just a return to magic. The characters, the clans, the plane, it just feels fully realized and it feels familiar and distinct, and it just feels like it's made with a lot of love. And the set designers talk about how there are obvious inspiration for different clans, like Mongolian for Mardu and Southeast Asian cultures for Sultai, but that each clan is not a one-note comparison. Each of these clans is really evolved and taken to a new place from when we last saw them in the last Tarkir sets. I think that level of research and that level of detail, again, just shows how much love was put into this set. And while I don't want to spend this video dumping on hat sets, even though I totally could, it just is a reminder to me that proper world building accounts for so much more than you might think. Personally, I will always prefer a great plane with great world building with so-so cards than a so-so plane with great cards. Luckily, Tarkir Dragonstorm is a great set with great cards. I am so hyped on the world building and flavor on this set. It's gonna have me pulling up to game night like this. Okay, so let's talk about the art and treatment for this set. Why are there so many treatments for this set? Overall, the art is a slam dunk here. I think it's actually some of the coolest art we've ever seen in a Magic set. The art directors and the artists cooked with this one. I feel like each piece is so distinct and cohesive, and it just works on such a new, strong, unique level. It's awesome. The borderless cards here are unsurprisingly great, especially these two cycles. I think those are so sick. You'll never hear me complaining about the borderless cards. They do them so well, and they make really good, strong choices with them. The borderless clan cards are unique, but they feel a little weak. They just feel a little underdeveloped or incomplete, and I don't really think I'll be picking up any. The draconic frames are really sick, you know, very metal, very ornate. They're awesome. They maybe feel a little tacked on here with how much else is going on, but still very cool. The Ghostfire frames are really unique, and among all the different art treatments, this is the one that I wish that they did for everything instead of the borderless clan and the draconic frames. I kind of wish they just stuck with this Ghostfire thing, because amidst the other treatments going on here, it just sort of feels like a cash grab. But hey, we're still good. They're very cool. Here is where the art treatments start to lose me a little bit more. The reversible cute dragon thing is just so cringe to me, honestly. I get that there are people who will F with these, but I am not one of them. And I want to sort of just categorize this under the don't let this thing near my child category that I put loot in, and move on. The Dragon Eye lands thing feels a little Godzilla 2000 for me, so not my vibe, but the Shadow full art lands with the dragons, that's cool. I like that. The special guest cards, as always, very good. I love that they kind of went full send with the fetch lands. They're beautiful. I love them. Keep it coming. Okay, let's talk about the new mechanics from this set. The coolest thing about the mechanics from this set, to me, is how well all of them blend and overlap into each other. Each clan feels so distinct in what it's trying to do, yet melds so well with everything else going on. A card like Sinkhole Surveyor was clearly built for an Abzan deck, but it can also do really well in a Mardu deck. And I just think the way they did that is so awesome because you can utilize so much of the set. First up, we've got Behold, a mechanic that wants you to be Donkey from Shrek and check out a dragon. I am curious to see if they'll do mass adoption with this mechanic for other tribes like humans or zombies. It's decent, but nothing to get too excited about. Next up is Harmonize. Flashback and convokes handsome little evolved child. It's a great mechanic that walks the line between spell slinging and big creatures. It's really awesome, and I can't wait to see what else they do with it. Next up is Mobilize. Basically, they made Adeline's ability into a fair, scalable mechanic, and it's really cool. It's consistent and powerful, especially when you have it in mass and you can use sack outlets with it. I think it's really strong and one of the best from the set. Next up is Renew. Giving your creatures more to do in the graveyard is sort of this everlasting quest that Magic players have. And getting an ability stapled on a creature that does that is a pretty big deal. Renew revolves around giving counters to your stuff on the battlefield, which I think is a good way to sort of introduce this mechanic. I'm excited to revisit this and see what else we can do with it. Very useful. Then we've got Flurry. It's not quite as flashy as other abilities in this set, but you get rewarded for playing more of your deck, and it can trigger on other players' turns. It's fun, it's quick, and if you can stack a lot of Flurry triggers, you can get a ton of momentum. Then we've got Endure. It's maybe a little more mild than some of the other mechanics here, but I love the modality of it. You can either make your stuff big or get a guy out of it. It's a little slow, but I feel like if you get a deck full of Endure abilities, it's going to pay off. Lastly, we have Omens. Adventure's shy cousin. I will always gladly take more cards that are stapled together. Unlike Adventures though, once you get that instant or sorcery, it's gone and you put the thing back in your deck. And I think they get away with it because the instant and sorcery piece is a little more cost effective than maybe Adventures are. Either way, I really like it and I think it's going to make games a lot more fun. Overall, we've got a mountain of keywords here that are really, really exciting. It just feels so good to be harmonizing and checking out dragons instead of exhausting ourselves and starting our engines, you know? Okay, let's talk about a big part of the set, the Precons. They are all pretty phenomenal. They are strong out of the box with strong identities, packing a ton of new and old heat. And as I've said before, my favorite cards from sets are usually the new cards that come out of Commander Precons. I would be happy with pretty much any of these, except for maybe one. But let's talk about it, and I'll kind of give a loose ranking as we go here. In last place, the only Precon that kind of disappointed me was Teamer. I had pre-ordered this deck with such high hopes, and instead, we got a collection of decent mono red dragons that only trigger Eshki's second ability a handful of times. And I know that most of you probably want to run Ureni instead of Eshki, but it just didn't feel balanced. Don't get me wrong, I think a lot of the new cards here in this deck are super awesome, but when the box says ramp mana and there are only like 5 cards that do that, it just seems like a misstep. It's not terrible, it's just different from what I imagined. Next up is Jeskai. It is such a cool, combo-y, punchy deck with 2 really awesome commanders. And while I wish the deck had a little more focus on prowess, it still feels really impactful and aggressive, and you can do some really cool things with spell slinging and copying spells. If you have been wanting to try an instant sorcery spell slinging deck, I think this is the one you go for. Next on the list is Abzan. We finally have a Defender's Precon, and it does so many things so well. New cards like Tip the Scales and Canopy Gargantuan kind of break my brain a little bit. This deck sort of feels like a snowball deck where if you don't deal with it in the early game, you won't be able to stop it in the late game. I think it needs a little adjusting and fine-tuning to do everything that it wants to, but I think it's a perfect deck to build off of. Next, we have Mardu. This deck is so jam-packed with awesome reprints like Divine Visitation, Grand Crescendo, and Adeline. The new cards in this deck are super aggressive and offer a ton of variety. This deck just knows what it wants to do, and it gives you a ton of resources to do it. I think people will be talking about how fun this Precon is for a long time to come. Lastly is Sultai. There have been a ton of graveyard Precons over the years, but I feel like this is the one to sort of unite them all. It's definitely more of a long-term build-up strategy. I just feel like filling up your graveyard and emptying it and getting effects from it has never felt so fun and dynamic with such accessible colors. I'm really, really digging this one. Okay, now let's talk about my 5 favorite commanders that give a ton of room for creativity and deck building. Quick honorable mention, Ureni of the Unwritten. Ureni is super strong, and he's kind of a more fair version of Gizath, but for dragons. He's a little too prescriptive for my deck building sensibilities, so we're gonna give him a little kiss and send him on his way. Number 1 is Elsha, Threefold Master. What a champ. This is such a fun, powerful card, but not arch enemy powerful. Sling spells like there's no tomorrow, throw some token doublers in there, and swing like a madman. It's a more go wide aggro combat heavy take on Jeskai, and that just makes me really happy. It's all the joy of storming off with added fun. Next up is Felothar, the Steadfast. This commander for me is cause for feasting and celebration. We finally have the marriage of people's 2 favorite big back commanders in one card. And even though you miss out on blue here, I feel like it opens the door for so much more fun defender shenanigans. And dude, that tap ability with like a 0/13,
God have mercy upon us.
and yes, it's a little more narrow on how it wants to be built, but I still think there's room there. And I really just feel like this thing is going to hit like a freight train. Next up is SADGIC Dragonclaw. If the Teamer Precon was the thorn in my side, then SADGIC Dragonclaw is the salve to heal it. This is a commander that rewards you for playing linear, straightforward magic, comes in really strong colors, and has some awesome keywords. It leaves a ton of room for unique deck building, and I feel like it just has the best art in the set. Next up, we've got Tevel, the Balanced Scale. I went back and forth on which Tevel to include on this list because the other Tevel is sort of this explosive race against the clock to play big spells and do fun things that Sultai colors like to do. But the Tevel in the Precon just does so much. Getting a mill outlet and a token outlet on an affordable commander body is pretty hard to deny. This commander is going to be the springboard for a lot of powerful and sustainable graveyard strategies. And last on the list, we've got Tursa Light Shatter. She is everything that I want in a mono red commander. She's aggressive, she's cheap, and she's chaotic. Discard everything you've ever loved and then go in and yank something out of the graveyard like a rabbit out of a hat. I think this deck is kind of psycho and a little bloodthirsty, and I'm excited to see what people do with it. And lastly, we're going to talk about 5 of my favorite cards that work well in the 99 of your deck. But listen, right out of the gate, we are not going to include this card or this card or that card. Okay? I know the Eldrazi and Dragon players are punching the air right now, but I'm sorry, they don't go in every deck. However, these 5 cards will thrive and do well in most any deck you put them in. So let's talk about them. First up, we have Elspeth Stormslayer. Dude, this card is kind of off the rails. Her static ability is absolutely one for the books, don't get me wrong. But what really pushes this card over the edge for me is her 0 ability. I feel like if you drop this card down in the late game, it's game over. You're going to win with that ability alone. It's kind of insane, actually. Next up is Avenger of the Fallen. This feels like the coolest usage of Mobilize in the set. And yes, graveyard decks are going to go crazy with this thing. However, I feel like even running it in just a normal deck that has black in it is going to provide a ton of value, especially because it comes on this Death Touch body. It's really good card design. Third on this list is Mistrise Village for obvious reasons. Protecting your crucial spells and your endgame pieces for 1 mana is a pretty big deal. It is going to be an expensive card and it's going to be run in CEDH, but anytime you can put a protection ability onto an existing spot in your deck, that's huge. It's an ability that just happily lives on a blue land in your deck. Next up, we've got Steward of the Harvest. I think when the MTG community saw this card, collectively everyone sort of turned into Zach Galifianakis, and we just started thinking about how we're going to utilize and break this card. Making your stuff fetch lands and strip mine and Cabal Coffers and Maze of Ith, that's insane. It's pretty wild territory that we haven't ventured into yet. And I think that this may be a new dawn of land destruction being okay in the modern era of EDH. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Last on the list, we've got Rot Curse Rakshasa. Outside of this card hitting hard and fast, it is insanely unique. This is the coolest usage of Renew from the set, and to weaponize Decayed is so strong. And because of that, I can see using this in most black decks. It's so bold and so fresh. I love it. Okay, so let's give this thing an overall rating. On a scale of God mode to bad, not good, this set falls into the amazing tier. This set is a boon for Magic players who need to feel like Magic is still in a good place. I really hope this set does well. I hope it makes a lot of money because we need Hasbro to know that we don't want race cars and we don't want detective hats. We want in-universe sets that are thoroughly and fully built with love and detail. It is a strong, dynamic, and beautiful, fully realized Magic set. It sticks to the landing and does pretty much everything it wants to do. Obviously, like any set, there's going to be a few little things that not everyone loves, and that's okay, because I think this set is going to be one that people look back to for years to come as a great entry point, as a thing that they want to draft, as precons that they always want to be getting. It's just going to be such a good tentpole standard set. Good job, Wizards of the Coast. For now. And that is it. Do you like this set? Are you excited? Who do you want to build from it? What are some of your favorite cards? Please tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please subscribe to the channel and help us grow. You can also follow us on social media if you're not already. And hey, let me know what else you want to see. What kind of video should we do next? I'd love to hear about it. We'll see you next time. Thanks.